many resales prices are much lower than new launch. However, is buying resale property really more affordable than new launch? Hello everyone, I'm Christina and welcome to my YouTube channel. Since 2020 to date, the average price between the new and resale had hit all-time high and has widened to as high as 70%. If you're a buyer looking at this data, chances are you will be focusing on resale property. In this video, I'm going to weigh out the cost and risk to own a resale and a new launch, and from there, you can make the decision yourself. I will be using a client that I've met recently for illustration. Some background information: he is 45 years old with a total budget of 2.3 million. He owns a HDB in Queenstown and is considering to upgrade to a nearby private 3 bedrooms. After a thorough discussion with me, he realized that getting a resale is potentially a higher cost and risk. Here's why. Let's list down the costs of owning a resale and new launch for the next 3 years. For a resale option with a loan up to 75% till the age of 65 at 4% interest per annum, his monthly mortgage will be at $10,450, of which $4,700 will go back to his principal, while $5,750 goes to the interest. To make it simpler, principal amount will be deducted to the loan and come back to you upon sales, whereas for interest, it goes to the bank whom you loan from, and this is the cost of owning the property through loan. The second set of payment will be your maintenance fee, which will be around $400 per month for a 3-bedroom condo. Adding up the interest and this up, multiplied for the next 36 months, the cost come up to be around $221,000. And for the third set of the payment, even when the house is tastefully renovated, but for hygiene purpose, he will still have to do up the kitchens and toilets, which works out to be around $50,000. Adding all the numbers up, the total cost of owning a resale comes out to be around $271,000 for 3 years. After seeing the numbers, he asked me if there are other options that are lower than this, which comes to the next part of this sharing. For new launch, due to the fact that it's still constructing, the monthly mortgage will be staggered based on progressive payment. Developer has broken down the payment into 8 stages and will only call upon the loan disbursement after they have completed each stage. This is then translated to the initial lower monthly mortgage at about $700 for the beginning and subsequently about $4,800 before its TOP when the unit is ready to move in. As new house usually take about 3 years to build, we will be using 3 years to average out on the monthly mortgage, which turns out to be about $3,030, of which $1,360 will go back to the principal, while $1,670 goes to the interest. Similar to the resale portion, multiply the interest for the next 36 months, the cost total up to be $60,000. There won't be maintenance fee as it isn't ready. However, if you do not have a place to stay, you will need to rent. To know how to rent strategically, you can click here for my last video. In this video, let's take a monthly rental of $4,000 for the next 33 months, which total up to be $144,000. As this is a newly built and furnished, no renovation required. Adding all the numbers up, the total cost of owning a new property comes out to be about $204,000 for the next 3 years. Doing a side-by-side cost comparison, owning a new launch costs about $67,000 cheaper than a resale. It is common to think that resale is cheaper and you can move in almost immediately. However, after laying out all the numbers, it may not be true. It is good to sit down to list down all the costs and options so as to have a clearer understanding before making any decisions. Now, let's look at the difference in risk for owning each properties. Take a look at Queen's Peak, a 4-year-old resale condo just right outside Queenstown MRT. My client told me that since it is situated in city fringe and right next to the MRT, it should be considered to be very low risk, right? Pulling out this price trend on all 3-bedroom transactions in Queen's Peak for the last 10 years, you can see it's high and low. Let's say my client purchased 1,001 square feet at about 2,300 PSF in December 2023. following the next 2 months, when the PSF dropped to about 2,200, which translates to a profit erosion of nearly 100,000. This shouldn't be alarming, as those who have purchased around the same time would want to sell higher in a few years' time. The reason why resale have up and down is because of those first owners who have purchased at about 1,006 PSF are still seated at a 700,000 profit. Even when the first owner decided to sell at 1,009 PSF in future, which is lower than the current peak, it is still a 20% growth. However, if you have purchased Queen's Peak today, from 2003 PSF to 1,009 PSF, a drop in 400 PSF would mean that you will either be stuck or worse if you have to exit the property. That would mean a loss of $400,000. And that is what we call risk. When you buy a property during its launch, all the buyer will enter at around the same price. Upon TOP, some of these owners will sell to the buyer who prefer brand new, do not want to rent, and do not mind paying a premium. Price will start to increase due to this incoming demand after TOP. As time goes by, the prices of the property are very much determined by the many sellers in the market. Under normal circumstances, no seller would want to sell below their purchase price. In the resale market, first owners are often the one with guaranteed profit. The older the development is, the wider the price gap is, and hence pose a greater risk to you as a resale buyer. I'm sure that all of us, if given a choice, would genuinely want to avoid such situation where we might get stuck in a property and find it challenging to move on, especially if we enter at a peak. Understanding the cost and risk involved in a property is crucial, as property is often the biggest ticket item in our life. In my next video, I will be sharing more on how to find a new launch property with a safe margin so that you can enter with the lowest risk possible. As always, this is not a one-size-fits-all solution for everybody, and there are many instances where I will encourage my buyer to look for a resale property with risk being managed. Do reach out to me if you are a buyer looking for a safer options in today's market, and I will see you in my next video.